Most kind of gracious Heavenly Father, as we come yet before you again, we thank you for this wonderful day you've given us, Father God. We just ask, Father God, that as we go about the county's business, Lord, that you look upon us, Father God, lead, guide, and direct us in all truth and righteousness, Father God, that we may do the work, do it well. Father God, and that it all be pleased with you and your kingdom. Lord, we love, honor, and give you praise in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
6:01 p.m. Let the record show that all magistrates are in attendance with the exception of Cheyenne Holbrook. Okay, number one on the list, there have been just several discussions about trash in Elliott County and how we want to approach this moving forward. I've done some reconnaissance work, and we've been out scouting around, and the next step was to search out a local county around us where the fiscal court operated the county's trash business. In doing that, it led me in my search to Judge Rick Stiltner of Menifee County, to which earlier this week Cheyenne and myself drove over and spent just an hour and a half or 2 hours tops with Judge. And I asked Judge to come this evening and speak to you, the magistrates, and the court, and just to have kind of a round robin discussion. And it doesn't have to take a long time, but Judge obliged, and Judge Stiltner, thank you so much, sir, for coming to Elliott County this evening.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
So, one thing we noticed was Judge works his trash service 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. He has, is that correct, Judge? You have 3 employees or 4 employees? 4 employees, and they work under the solid waste coordinator's supervision, and they pick up trash 4 days a week. Judge, you have 1 active large,
I had 1 active large truck and 2 small.
1 active large and 2 small. Okay. So what we're looking at would be, is it a 25 yard?
Yes.
So a 25 yards, the larger one that he has, and the smaller ones are around 6, 8. So they're 8 yard, and then you have pickup trucks. How many? 2 pickup trucks.
Right.
So 4 days a week. His county is approximately the size of Elliott, maybe a little bit smaller. So that's kind of where you would think about there. That's kind of what I would think about. 1 larger truck, 2 of the 8 cubic yard. The smaller trucks would ride the county roads. The larger truck, they would feed the larger truck on the state highway. The larger truck would go to the dump. Now your 8 cubic yard trucks, they go to the dump as well. Okay. He also keeps an older truck on the lot if someone were to bring in bags, just for compaction, right?
Right.
So you can fit more and it doesn't pile in the dumpster, but you also have 2 dumpsters on site, same as Elliott does it.
That's right. That's correct.
Questions, magistrates? At this time, Menifee County charges $8 for regular. They charge $6 for senior. But in doing that, and Judge, you interrupt me anytime, they do funnel money into that from their general fund to make sure that they get the break-even point.
Yes. The passed ordinance our county in 2011. We had always picked up garbage there, even before that time. It's just there was no charge. They did garbage for free for several years in Menifee County. And again, financially they become strapped and they had to change matters. And so these took the ordinance in 2011 that created solid waste. At the time, they set the rate at $10 per person. After a short time, they changed that. They lowered to 6 and 8. And it's been that since we've been in business.
How long's that been?
Since 2011.
Do you require, does the ordinance require every citizen in the county with property
Every
ownership
person
pay?
that has an electric bill.
Do you hold it out through their electric bill each month?
We bill out quarterly. Our solid waste coordinator keeps keeps all those records, and she sends a bill out quarterly for $24 for those that are under the age of 65, and those that are older than 65, it's $18 a quarter. And then we give her a break for paying yearly. We charge seniors $60, and we charge those that aren't seniors $80 a year. So they get basically a 2-month break by paying it on a yearly basis.
You said everybody that had a what?
Electric bill.
Electric bill in their name?
It doesn't, yes. If they have electric,
Well, I mean, let's say that they have electric at their home, they have electric at their barn, they have electric.
Is that business and residential both, or is business different?
now business is different, same money. But if they have a business there, we're picking up garbage, that's a bill. They have a residence, that's a bill.
You charge $8 for the business too?
Yes, and we charge the same amount of money. We have dumpsters as well, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 yard, and we charge $10 a yard. So if you've got a dumpster that's 5 yard, we're going to charge you $50 a month for that. If they have a dumpster at their house, we do not charge them a residential bill. They're paying a dumpster bill. Same with our business.
You gotta do roll-off too.
We do not. We go over our contract for disposal and for the big roll-offs is with Rumpke of Kentucky on my store, and that's where our garbage goes to.
Mount Sterling.
Yes,
And
we
you-
bid it out.
And you've got 5-yard dumpsters that for how much money? $50 a month?
That's 50. Have 6 yard dumpster that's $60. We charge $10 a yard. We started a year and a half ago charging to bring trash to our facility. We had never done that before, but it got to be a pretty large expense to the county. And so we started out about a year and a half ago charging $10 a load, not residential garbage. We have people who bring their residential garbage, even though we pick it up, they'll drive it to there. And we do not charge for that. We don't charge for residential bag garbage, just where they bring couches, chairs, beds, junk, yeah, those kinds of things. We do separate our junk out.
But we take bag garbage, don't we, right?
Honestly, we should not.
Yeah. And you do not take
Yes.
bag garbage?
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
They
I do.
Okay.
I do take bag garbage because I do all garbage.
Do you
That's,
get
that's the difference.
the business rate, going back to it for a minute, if a senior citizen owns a business, do they get the discount on the business as well, they can see?
Yes.
Okay.
We base it strictly on age, not
What is your senior citizen age then?
65. That's what we use. That's what the rate is at 65.
How do you enforce that they pay their bill?
Well, there's a lot to that. I tell them, as I told Myron Monday, that they ask those same questions. What we do is send you a letter when you haven't paid. I have my solid waste coordinator once a year prepare me a list for anybody that's 200 and over. So 200, they've gone about 2 years without paying.
2 years without paying, yeah, very-
Basically, that's what it's happened. But, I came in 15, a lot of that was already there, so I'm just moving forward with it. We sent them a letter from the county attorney, asking them to get it current or make arrangements to get it current. And we do that. We allow them to pay so much a month, but they have to keep their sale current going forward. So they're paying a little bit back, plus they're keeping themselves going forward. Really, when they first started this, they took people's small claims court. When you didn't pay after 12 months or a year, 2 years, 3 years, you got people that's 10 years. What you end up doing, you're paying $75 to file for the judge to give you a judgment that you can't collect.
Are you still picking up their garbage when they don't
Yes.
pay?
I do. What I find is it's best to take the garbage, because I'm going to get it one way or the other. I'm either going to a dump site
That's true.
to clean it up, And me, personally, I prefer it the other way. I prefer this pick it up at the residence. We don't, we're not a commercial, we're the county. And so that's how I view that. We do seek to get paid by everybody, because it's not fair to the people who pay. But
What percentage of customers do you have that don't pay overall?
I tell you, less than 10. I mean, it's probably somewhere between 5 and 10%. And when I say that, that's not, there's probably about only 1%, maybe 2, that don't pay at all, have never paid. It's a small percentage of folks. When they started that, they did the electricity. And we have a lot of cabins in our area around Cave Run Lake. And so a lot of those folks are there for the weekend, but they live somewhere else. But we still have to pick up the garbage. And so we don't make any exceptions. We get calls all the time saying I'm only there once a month. We make no exception.
So they still have to
They
pay?
still have to pay. If you have electricity to your property, a residential property, you're paying garbage.
What about with like, say like apartment complexes, duplexes, things like that, where there'd be multiple units there that they would come and they would take their trash and dump it into a dumpster there around the unit or whatever, how's that?
It's the $50. It's a dumpster fee. If it's multi,
So that property owner, at that
yes.
point, would only be that, so everybody could just,
Yep, we have several, we have some.
You put a limit on how many bags, or how much you'll pick up
We
a
do
week?
not.
what we currently got right now, 99 gallon?
I
so.
think, I don't know, I've got dumpster, I've got 20 yard gallons per thousand.
We don't have a
What is
limit.
it? 713 gallons?
Yeah, we never said we need one.
Do you all have some kind of like junk ordinance or anything like that?
We don't. We take the junk, we sell it, it goes to the general fund. It basically goes to solid waste, which is the general fund.
Are you turning a profit?
No.
No.
No, and I'll tell you why I'm not. I mean, I'm just stating it in front of you. These rates haven't been raised since 2011, and I don't foresee it happening any time in the near future that we're going to change. Our fiscal court chooses to let it continue it as it is and use general fund dollars to help support it. This is what they choose to do. The personnel costs have doubled, I tell you, since the beginning of it. Fuel, you have a lot of things. I'll give you last year's figures because I have them. I know what they are. In 2021, the fiscal court put $121,000. I'm sorry, $131,000 in the solid waste. That offset all expenses. That's all personnel costs, that's all garbage, taking it to the dump, that's every cost.
How many, what's the number that you have right now of people?
Customers, it says 2,100 probably, somewhere near that number. Really close.
How much revenue did it generate last year, do you remember?
Why don't you have that? You got that paper?
It was, no, I don't.
Okay, I didn't break with you.
We have a breakdown on what county's doing right now.
I just wonder how much you shortfall everything. What's your budget over there, your general on average for county?
$3.5 million. That's outside of any other federal money. It's generally right around $5 million, but that's other funds.
Yeah.
But what the county's actually budget would be somewhere like 300. We have 6,400 people.
Any other counties that you know of around here that is doing their own thing?
No,
You're the only one.
we're pretty much at, and again, they started it over there because once again, we were doing it anyway, we were doing it for free. And they were doing basically the main roads in 10 days. But things have changed a lot.
rent or don't in your county?
I don't now. I did. And on occasion, I will have some. I mean, on occasion, I'll go out and we'll pick up a couch or a chair, and I still, well, I mean, I don't understand why you dump it off or someplace to burn it, but they do. Just on occasion, we have to do that. It's actually very, very well. We do Pride, which is a grant. I do ditch line pickup on county roads. I hire high school students. It's $14,000 grant. I work them all summer.
You said it was private?
Pride, yeah. I work them all summer. So that's how we kind of keep the county roads cleaned up. And then the state highways, the prison system has always done it until COVID. And they still don't have them out yet doing that, so.
Is your large truck the one that goes to the dump? Is that the one that goes?
I have 3 that go a day.
3 large ones?
No, 1 large one and the 2 small trucks.
But they go every day?
They go every day. They compact, anything that compacts, I send every day. Then I send another large truck, which is 25 yards as well, that we keep on the side at our garage. When people bring in bags, stuff, or things that can be crushed, we don't put it in a dumpster. Dumpster costs us $330 to have it dropped. And then when they come back to get it, they drop another one for $330, and they charge me the tonnage on what's in that dumpster. So that's all included in that whole price.
Not for the whole price, that's everything.
That's everything. Yeah, I tell you, we started charging $10 for to bring it. That offset $9,000 last year. That's how much money that brought in. We brought in $9,000. And probably the junk part probably brought another 10. If I was guessing, it'd be something in there. Junk prices were down. But we prefer to take it, have it recycled. So that's what we do with it.
Do you have any recycling capabilities for cans, bottles, plastic?
I do not. We looked at recycling, and I'll be quite honest with you, Rumpke didn't even recommend it to us, and for all the obvious reasons. Whatever recycling doesn't bring, if I take it to them, whatever recycling doesn't bring, I have to pay it. I have to pay the cost of it. So there's not really an incentive to recycle.
And you've got a contract with Rumpke?
I do. We bid it we just bid it in June for them, and we could approve 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, we approved 3. And that all has to do with rate, what they charge. They were the only bidder, and they have been the only bidder since I've been judge.
Have you ever been tried to shop that, see if maybe Waste Management or one of them
Waste Management,
which just bought plants?
right. We did Waste Management. Waste Management was our contractor back before me. Rumpke's been there even in JD's time, the past judge. They used to go to Waste Management. Waste Management stopped bidding. And so we bid it. They're reasonable. Their rates doesn't, there's not a big, large increase in what they're charging us. So
For us, we've got the option of, here fairly close, we've got Green Valley, Big Run, which I think is Rumpke, and Advanced Disposals. So we have 3 fairly close.
actually, Rumpke for me is the closest one to me.
Out Mount Sterling, just
It's
across
on-
the hill there, yeah.
Yeah, it's on 11. But for me, we cut across there, Jeffersonville, cut across 213. We're 15 minutes from them. If I go to Board Waste Management, we're 30. So, again, it saves me time. I'm wrong. If Waste Management was the low bid, that's where I'd be, because that's what I do.
Did you buy a new truck?
I did. They bought a new truck in 2015. We're still operating that 25-yard truck. I'm getting ready to buy a new truck, a small new truck. I'm going to go from a 8-yard to an 11-yard truck to run.
So you bring that back over there, you make for the general fund?
Well, yeah, we finance it, and yeah, it'll be paid out of the general
How
fund.
many dumpsters you got out of county?
Somewhere around 100, real close to that number.
What's those cost you piece when you place them 5 hours?
Today, they're about 1,600. Back when I was buying, I bought several during my first term. We gave 800 for those. Just big change in what metal cost is. Fabrication, I have a fabricator, one of the things I do now, we have a fabricator who moved in. He repairs those dumpsters. I don't have to buy them now. He does a repair on them, and the bottoms just walk right out of them.
And how many did you say you had out of county?
Around 100.
Well, thank you.
And that's total in all sizes, correct?
That's correct. That's all sizes.
According to what Shannon just said, Elliott County has roughly, or the bank roughly has 18, Elliott County has roughly 8, that gives us 2,600 as it stands. If you do the math on that, just cut the difference, 13, that'll bring in about 405
On what?
a year
For what?
for garbage right there, as it stands. If you did the same rates that we're doing right now. That's not counting, that's not counting dumpsters.
You talking about customer count?
Yeah.
That's just people that's paying.
Right.
But that's not
That's not
counting
included.
dumpster or roll off or anything like that.
It bring in how much?
405.
Or, see back with the.
That'd be close.
Do you have any dedicated place to put household batteries for people to bring in?
Do we do take them? Yes. And I do it around once a year. That takes all that stuff, household, liquid, dangerous substance kind of stuff. Hazardous waste, what's called, it's hazardous waste grant. I do that grant each year, it's one time a year. It's generally in September. And we take all that stuff in, but I do take batteries all the time. I take tires year round. I don't, that's what I told Myron, I have a place there, we're at our place, I take them year round. We have a tire grant that pays to have them done away with, so after we get enough, about 3 or 4 truckloads, we load them up, take them to all the dispose of them through that grant. What we find is that we don't find as many of them alongside the road, those kinds of things, by taking them all the time.
Can that grant money be dispersed over time? Or do you have to, just one time, you have to just wait until you get that money and then all has to be spent?
No.
So you can take several loads throughout the year?
Yes.
Battery tires?
We take them all, year round.
Roughly
We get
how much
that
is
grant.
that grant?
It's 4,000. And I'll be honest with you, it pretty much covers,
It's the same one we have.
yeah.
Okay.
It pretty much covers the tires. Very seldom do we go over that 4,000 in a year's time.
My hope is, once we get the gravel moved down to the other lot, it will free up a large area in the back, and we can do something. But whereas everything that the county operated on was on that one little piece of track that we have, we just out of room. So, once we get that, I have a spot in mind where we can accept tires. What the spot you have is, it's perfect, and it's something I saw, I wanted to look into.
Yeah. We have, like I said, our lot, we store very little rock on it, just so there's a quarry in my county. So I keep enough rock for an emergency on the weekend when that quarry would not be open. And then to the operating quarry, I know if we had to have rock, we could go there and get it. So I have a little advantage in that is there.
It's a little more than a
Do
little.
you have a buyer on your batteries, or do you have to dispose of them?
We dispose of it. I don't do any of that.
That'd be something to look at, because I know
That's good.
there's some bad places around that are doing life.
Maintenance is,
That's your will.
I don't know what we spend a year, it's in that breakdown. I'll be happy to furnish that to you. I mean, I'll give you. I have from 2011 to 2021, we just finished, I got it this morning in our back. what our numbers were. But I have 10 years worth of what the maintenance cost in those kind. And as you all know, as your equipment gets older, your maintenance costs go up. So you have to look at it. I just bought a used international 20-yard. And I bought that, we gave $40,000 for it. We bought it from a guy out of Louisville. It's a company that does garbage trucks. Matter of fact, that's who the new one with. They're on state price contracts, so we're able to do business with them. But I'm going to replace the old Peterbilt. It is old, with this 20-yard. And it's a good backup for me if my 25-yard has a maintenance issue and I have to pull off, that it gives me a backup.
Are all those trucks DOT required?
The only one is the 25 and the 20-yard. All the little trucks do not require CDL. It requires a medical card. But, like,
The DOT Fiscal.
yeah, that's all.
You said the small ones don't, but the large ones do.
Large ones do. Large ones require CDL.
Yeah.
The small ones would remind you almost a little smaller than a Schwann's truck.
That's it.
If you see a Schwann's truck, keep that in mind. That's kind of where you're at there.
It works very, very well. Those 8 yards work very, very well on county roads that are pretty narrow. And we run every road.
Those don't have compactors on them. The small ones.
Yes.
George do?
Yes.
Okay.
The only time I use a pickup truck to pick up garbage is if those small ones are down. And then I take one from the yard and I put it up close to where they're picking up on the big trucks. That's the back, what the backup for as well. And then they just offload in that out of the pickups. Because pickup's not going to hold, you're not compacted. So you're not going to hold the route unless you do it that way.
And you said you was going to look at the purchase another.
Already, I'm already in the process. An 8-yard Isuzu, which is the only kind you'll find. In that they're 115,000.
What yard did you say it was?
8. The 11-yard is part of the one. I'm going to go with an 11-yard. An 11-yard Peterbilt is 141,000. And an 11-yard International was 145,000. And again, that price is up. I priced these a year ago. I should have bought them a year ago, based on the overall cost. It was 95,000 for the Isuzu 12 to 16 months ago, and it's 115 now. Like I said, he just sent me, I know the numbers because he just sent me the bid.
You want to buy a 25?
I'm not. Really, my 25-yard is in very good shape. Of course, we run it every day, but it's got somewhere around 80,000 miles on it in 6 years.
If you give us an estimate.
Yeah, I can. I can tell you what they was. I bid on a year ago, and it was 195. You're probably looking at 205, 210.
About 212.
Okay. I figured you're probably a little.
Around $212,000.
Yeah, I knew, like I said, 16 months ago when I did it, under that. We do a USDA grant. That's something for you to consider when you're buying.
When he's saying USDA grant, it's the same thing we bought sheriff's trucks with. So $50,000 that comes through USDA.
And on that 25, it'll take, you'll get the whole 50,000. On the smaller ones, it's based on what you paid, how much you were.
You also said on the start, can you give us an idea how to start this? Money's got to come from someplace to come up with, what you want, $1.5 million?
If you go new,
Well, because you got to make an ordinance to start a utility through the fiscal court, utility service, right?
Yes.
And through that, you'll have to use it for the collection, and through that, like another department of fiscal court.
Right. And again, you have a solid waste person, who you already have on staff,
Yep.
that's able to do that part of that for you. And again, she uses a different we do, we use trash flow. And we went to them, we used to use a different one, we went to trash flow. It's a central usage, and which was relatively inexpensive. I think it's $2,500, and then there's a maintenance fee each year that's a couple $100.
And then this is operated through the fiscal court.
Yes.
And you can also, I would say legally, take money from the general fund and apply to this to help keep it afloat.
Once you-
Not
yes.
covered, it's self-covered.
Once you pass an ordinance that creates solid waste, yes, you can spend what you can spend it from anything that's not restricted.
Because it's still
Restricted
used
funds.
for taxes, the county
Yes,
taxes. it's still
absolutely,
saved.
because it's a service to the people in your community, and so with that, you're able to reverse it. I was telling Myron too, when you're looking at your ordinance at whatever point, you all decide what you're going to do. I make provisions for rate increases automatically. That being a percentage or
Through the CPI.
yes,
Right.
through the CPs. That way, because if your ordinance states it, it's easier. Me, I have to go back, the way our ordinance is wrote currently, if there was ever a time the fiscal court chose that they were going to do a rate increase, then I'd have to go back through that process.
Go back through the process.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like we're going to have to do something. We know that, according to what was bid something the last time, it's the taxpayer, we didn't realize probably how much of an increase it's going to be in this.
Yes.
Big companies are buying out the smaller ones, and we're all going to fall subject to the big company prices.
Yeah.
And what you've got going, I feel like is great. Can we tweak something? Yeah. But I think what you've got going is great. Now, what you and I discussed is if the price was a little higher then the fiscal court wouldn't have to inject general fund dollars into it, because the solid waste at that point would be not only self-sufficient, it might actually benefit to the point that the fiscal court could have some money to help in other places within the general fund.
That's correct. I tell you, Memphis County's prices are as low as they're anywhere in the state.
That's
I think
astronomically low.
Yeah,
Yeah, isn't what we charge half of what we pay here in Elliott?
It's less than half.
Yeah, less.
You're at almost $19 in the city limits of Sandy Hook, and you're at almost $15 in the county of Elliott.
With the expectation of that going way up.
Well, it actually dropped this bid, it was like 21 out in the county.
Like I said,
Again, waste management, just
You're
not
putting
management.
you're putting a little less than 4% of your budget into it, keep it going, but if you had your rates up there a little bit, you wouldn't be doing that.
It might yield 2% back to the county.
Yeah.
Possibly.
and again, for me and my fiscal court, we're good where we are.
Sure.
We choose to continue to do what we're doing.
Understood.
So, and it's a good service for the people of Menifee County. It's a lot of work for my people. I'll just tell you that.
You said you have 4 people on staff that work,
I have 4 people that go out and pick up garbage.
plus your coordinator.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 on the big garbage truck, 1 in each one of the small trucks, and I actually have 5 people that sign the solid waste, plus my coordinator.
Plus your coordinator.
Yeah, I have a guy that's at the county garage who takes care of folks coming in who are bringing garbage, whether they're bringing truckloads or they're bringing household garbage. I have somebody that needs them.
Are they working 410s?
They are currently. Now, I changed that. I order 410s as long as it's daylight at 6:30 in the morning. As soon as it's not daylight at 6:30 in the morning, I go back to 5 days.
Boykin, that's
That's a
correct.
good idea.
Yeah, Boykin doesn't say.
It works well.
At this time, though, going back on, you have an individual there who helps bail off the trash. You don't have an underground, if you will, dump to throw in.
No.
Yours is above ground, so this individual is helping get off of the truck and toss it up into a 30 or 40 cubic yard.
Yes.
Whereas right now in Elliott County, we have you can back up and just throw it down.
Yeah.
So there's where an extra, but I would use that all day long, because I know everyone is clean, but occasionally we have spills. And our road guys and myself get on the back of them, we clean up those spills. It would be great to have someone there all day, just dedicated for such
Well,
service.
since all we have a loader, you know, our guys put it in the bucket loader, dump it in. That's what's not going in the back of the garbage truck, the truck that's sitting. Because we put quite a bit in that, in the back.
If we went the way he did, then we'd be able to hire 5 people from the county.
That's correct.
That's the goal.
That's where I'm at.
Yep.
I want to create a source of revenue that, A, hopefully benefits the county in a self-sufficient manner, and B, puts people work to work.
We have 15 employees. Memphis County does.
For your county crew.
Have 5 that's the solid waste folks, and I have 10 other people that do all the other.
So are these, the people that's doing the garbage, they're all paid the same?
They are. My employees are basically all paid the same. No matter what how long they've been there, we made a little change a year ago. We made a change so that new people coming on was making a little less than the folks who have been there for quite some time. So we pay all their health insurance.
You do pay their health insurance?
Yes. And again, I think that our new rate as of July 1, because we gave a 50-cent pay raise this budget cycle, we pay $14.03 an hour for, plus we furnish health insurance, life insurance. They have access to dental and vision and all that, they pay for that themselves.
You do that through NACO?
Yes. Yeah.
He must be a lot richer than we are.
Now,
What's your tax base?
it's, so our regular money about $3.5 million. So, yeah. Well, our budget's around $5 million, but that's with grant money and other things that I get through the year, dollars from other places. But the actual budget itself is for the county. If we didn't have anything else, we'd be something like 3.5.
Is there anything out there that help buy trucks?
I'd say right now, for you, absolutely.
Oh, I can't say that for me, absolutely. I appreciate that.
Yes, there are some grades that come on. It's going to be a waiting game because of the deadlines that have closed. The biggest one that I can think of is state and middle. And it comes around, it actually just ended June 30th. So you're looking at about April next year before it reopens. Now, there are millions of grants out there. We just need to look at one. Go through and see what applies.
A lot of information. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Happy to share it.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, thank
Appreciate
you. You drove all the way over here, you didn't have to, and we truly appreciate you.
Well,
Make Byron buy you lunch next time you're over here.
hey, it's all right. You can tell I'm not missing it. But I appreciate you. I'm happy to be here. If you got questions or information that you want, Myron has my telephone.
Tomorrow morning, I will scan to you everything he gave me. I'll scan it to each one, everything we've got, it's on Shine's desk, I'll scan it right over to you, you'll be able to see everything.
It'll give you we break all bars down.
Oh, it's easy to read. It's a left or right, year by year, that fast.
You'll see what we spend money on.
You think maybe here in the near future, we could work out something, maybe we could take a drive over, visit with him, and kind of see
Well,
with our own eyes, what's going on with
Let me
everybody.
know. Yeah.
That's what I'll tell you.
He's right on the main drag, so his yard there is right there beside
You
the
know, if we took a notion, a couple of us or something, go take a look at it,
Yeah.
kind of get to look.
I'd be happy to drive you over, ride with you, follow you, whatever, or you can go on your own, you don't need me. But I'm happy to go.
I'll give you my telephone number, you can call me. You're gonna come over, I'll be happy to meet with you. 859-227-4639. 3270. That's my cell number. You got questions, you want to know something, happy to go through Myron, you can call me direct. I'm happy to share information.
Thank you.
He's also a good, I don't know if anybody knows this, Myron, but he's a real good singer. He's got a quartet.
I do sing, yes, I
Would your group come to one of our fish fries?
do. Do what now?
Would your group come and sing at one of our fire department
I'm
fish
sure we
fries?
would. I'm sure we would. I sing with the Rhodes Family Quartet, and we've been singing together about 35 years. So
That's great.
That's awesome.
Anybody just WLJC, you all sing there or something?
We do. We do with their television station every couple of months.
That's why you look for me.
I tell my skull in the face and one old one. I told them I said, I'm 60 years old, this hair is this white. When, not having stress with the job.
I understand.
It's good.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Nice to meet y'all.
Thank you. Safe travels, sir.
See you. I tell you. He's doing good.
Second, it's not on here, but as I discussed before the meeting, Laurel Tula is here, and she's with the RSS again, and our debris removal has wrapped up, or is about as close to wrapped up as we can get. I did find one more road today, and we've addressed it. We're going to take care of that, but I'll let Laurel catch you up.
Start with any questions, or I'll give you my questions.
D. Lewis Road, I was contacted about it.
Okay?
That's three?
Yeah.
It's Bruin 409. It's Bruin, it's on State Route 409.
Yeah, I was contacted about the Tracy Henderson Road also, on Henderson Ridge. That's over the hill there.
Okay.
That's D. Lewis,
D.
Is it
Lewis.
David?
Yeah.
and then, is it Crazy Henderson?
Yeah, Crazy, yeah.
Henderson Ridge, okay.
What about
T.
Blaine,
Anderson.
what about Blaine Low Road, they get it?
Tracy Henderson.
That makes more sense.
I thought you were saying crazy.
I should say that, but I didn't say that, that's okay.
There you go, your work, Sorry about that.
Is there any other roads that you? Now's the time to look.
Yeah, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
I know I've been asked about some others, but I think you all have covered those. That's, I know, that's the last one I know of that have been touched, I don't think.
But I will make sure, I think they went down there and cut, but I don't know that they removed from T. Anderson. But I'll make sure, even if it's gonna drive out there and all that.
What about Blaine Office Road down there off the 7th Road? I know you know anything about it, did it?
I haven't heard anything about it.
He had a bunch of brush down there he wanted to remove. I don't know if they ever did remove it or not, but I do know he was calling the office up there trying to get something done about it. That's been 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Where is this at?
That one, what's the name of that road there where Dwayne Hawley lives up on the hill there, Head Road's little place?
Strawberry Road.
Yeah,
Strawberry.
I mowed that road, it was clean as a
Is it clean now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been 2 or 3 weeks ago. I figured they got it, but I wanted to bring it up because I know he said something about it.
I know I mowed that road, I put a brand new sign.
I know I was asked about the door.
Is that a sign from Bree?
No, it was, someone had stolen the Strawberry Road sign, and we had another one made.
That's a tempting one.
They all are.
Well, they do break it off like they do the rest of it.
Well, if it's the old fiberglass, yeah, they'll snap them off. But the metal, they'll work and work and work and work and bend and work until they get it to either snap or they break it out. Henderson Ridge, just the other day, I think someone hit it with a vehicle though because the holding metal was snapped. So I'm thinking that got hit by a vehicle. So this next one will stick back a little farther. But Henderson Ridge, the way you turn in off 955 is a little bit, I can see where if you had a long trailer and sometimes that happens, I can see where that.
Okay, next is flood damage. We have about 10 more days to turn in all the damage from damaged roads from the flood. If you it's like, again, it's last call for flood damage. Those calls need to go into Jim Skaggs, and then he funnels them to me. We get them put in the computer, have the engineer write it up if needed.
And this is flood damage on the county road.
Yep. Okay. Speaking of last call, it's almost last call for volunteers and donations. So probably 3-4 months ago, it feels like forever, I stood here and said, donations and volunteers are gonna matter because they make your local cost share. So on every $100 of debris costs, we've had $87 that the federal government's going to pay, $12 that the state government's going to pay, and $13 that we need to find in our couch cushions to pay. And we're not quite that, we haven't found our full $13 yet. We're only about 30% there. So everyone who has done any kind of volunteer or donation, they were out with chainsaws on the roads, maybe they were doing welfare checks on citizens, anything that a public service would have done. So if you checked on on someone and that meant that 911 did not have to go do a wellness check or a welfare check, then that is a donated resource. So it becomes a little bit hard for people to truly comprehend that, wait, the federal government's going to pay us for a volunteer? And the answer is yes, because the volunteer rate is much, much lower than the contract rate. So if the federal government incentivizes local governments to have volunteers, one, it's going to be the next time around, those volunteers are probably going to step up to the plate again, but also it's cheaper to the federal taxpayer. So instead of paying $50 for a contractor to collect debris, if someone volunteers and we get a $10 an hour rate to collect the debris, it's cheaper to the federal government and to us as the federal taxpayer. But point being, we're a little shy on our numbers. So we need to make sure everyone is aware to please call in their donations, their volunteer hours, or to stop by the road department and fill out one of the donation sheets, the volunteer donation sheets.
This morning I sent out a video I'd shot, and within hours we had over 20 folks reach out to us in the county asking if I cooked for folks in a church, does that matter? If I took groceries to someone, if I took medicines, which I was a pharmacist for a while, and it was those same questions, and the answer is yes, 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 and yes. If you took time out of your life to go help our community, and whether it was with a chainsaw or your pickup truck going to Walgreens or wherever you went to, that needs documented. And all I need is your address, your name, your phone number, and what you did and how long you did it. And we turned this directly to her. She was in there with her iPhone the other day taking pictures of everybody that had come in, but we need more. This is forgiven debt, plain and simple. I had an individual reach out to me today, and I took to his house this morning 5 of these papers, and he said he would get folks on his road to fill them up. And he said, because we all have tractors out there, they're in your world. And he said, because we all have tractors out. And I said, I need you and your neighbors to step up here. And if you need me to come get them and collect them, bring me more, whatever you want, I'm your guy. Happy to do it. And then we just simply bring them back. Laurel comes in, takes pictures of them with her iPhone. She loads them into her program, and bam, it's reduce.
Right, and to the point of the tractor, the make and the model of the tractor does matter, because we get more for the John Deere, I'm going to say a model, and you're like, that's not a model, a 420 than we would for a pickup truck.
Did you get the information from Route 504 Fire Department?
I think so.
I
That's
have
already-
information from you and Theodore. Is there one specific to Route 504 Fire Department?
It was when we used the fire department as the warming center, and we had food there for them.
You got that?
That sounds familiar, but
I
we'll
think
double
I put
check.
that down on a form.
Yes,
How many hours I was there, how many
Yeah.
hours.
I think that might be under you,
Yes,
doing the one you, I saw the one that you turned in, you and Alan, I saw that.
You know, and we had our pickup truck out there for 5 days, just about 24 hours a day.
Those are, we need these things. We need these.
I think I put that down on the
Yeah.
form.
I had a lady, well, I'm being redundant, but she said she had cooked for a church. I need this. Because we have warming centers and churches stepped up and they helped out. We need to know this. This is,
Can we get those forms, a copy of those forms?
I can email them to you. I can give you a stack of 100.
Email me one, because I've went around that office and stuff, I went for days after reading, I think I read me that in.
I don't think I turned any money.
Yeah, we
I'll need to make sure,
turn it in.
I'll need to make sure that you all are they. I'm not, but they are.
because they're not on a salary per se, right?
Well, they get paid salary to be a magistrate.
Let me look at it, but the answer is yes.
Okay?
Because at the very least, their vehicle counts.
Yeah, understood.
So if you kept a family, a four, fed them, took care of them, you want that information?
Are they your immediate family?
No.
Then yes, then you
Okay.
did a non-congregate shelter due to COVID.
Okay.
I know all the words.
That's why we hired you.
Yeah.
The one thing I didn't put down was when Alan used our Jeep as an intermediate ambulance.
We need that.
Okay.
We need that.
On the first day, we repaired at least 3 generators also.
We need that. All that time that you and your neighbors spent out there cutting out, where Dewey Garris or wherever you were, I need that.
If in doubt, write it down, and if it doesn't
I need
meet the
addresses.
standards, we need just a rough description, but as, an address would be great, but just a rough description. There is a line in the sand that FEMA draws that says, oh, no, that was really individual assistance, you were rebuilding someone's home. But during this ice storm, we weren't doing really any individual assistance, we were doing all for public health, public benefit,
Yeah.
preventing people from dying.
Yeah.
So that's for the public good.
When we cut off Glen Lawson Road, we had one crew on one side, another crew on the other side, trying to get through so that ambulances could get through.
And that's a perfect example of every single minute of that counts. And I don't think we have enough vehicles for documented from your sheet, I'm remembering it now. So, but I do think we have your phone number on it, so I'll give you a call on my phone number.
When do you want this turned in? Now, what can we get it? When
Just
get-
as soon as possible, but in the next week.
Okay. If you have neighbors, call them, go talk to them.
Yeah.
Because chances are all your neighbors, or
Yeah, I
the
know.
majority of your
Yeah.
neighbors, if they were able to
About
at
the
all,
paper slip.
they were out
Yeah.
there.
This is not the time to be humble. We
Right.
have a big debt to pay.
Okay.
Would, had a neighbor that was, clearing the roads with these side by side.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We'd
But
like
like,
to make them all side by side.
the side by side, we did about, depending on what model, then even at the lowest, we did about $16 an hour.
Oh, that's about
Any equipment, chainsaw, pole
Yeah.
saw. Yeah. If it's equipment, we need it, whatever it is. This is just that we won't have to get into it. And it was the wonderful action of our citizens.
Okay, so that's volunteers, road slips. We're going to address the possible amendment we might need to do to SDR's contract.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you wouldn't care to explain
Yeah,
that.
so SDR was the debris removal company. When we did the bids, we said they bid each of the rates, but we said they had to give a rate to haul the ash from the dump site to Rumpke, to the landfill. So they hauled in the debris, they burned it, then they had to haul out the ash so they could restore the site. In our contract, or in the bid and in the contract, we said that they were not to pay the tipping fees, that the tipping fees would be billed directly to the county. And the reason we did that is in some contracts, and contractors like to add a little extra on there, so just to control and make sure we were transparent and get the lowest cost possible, we said, you're not going to be responsible for the tipping fees, the county is. Well, that got lost in translation somewhere within SDR and Rumpke, and Rumpke has billed SDR. I can see the rates, it would be a pass-through rate, it's no extra charge to the county, but what the best course of action to do is to amend the contract with SDR to say that the tipping fees for the landfill will be a pass-through at the lowest available rate. We did check, there's not a lower rate available either through the county or through SDR, so it's below 15,000. They're going back and forth on the fuel surcharge, whether we have to pay that or not. So it's either 11,000 or 12,600. It's below 15,000. But I would recommend that we amend the contract with SDR to allow for a pass-through of tipping fees on the ash haul out or the ash disposal at the certified landfill.
Need a motion on that?
Yes.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Dewey with a second by Chris. Second by Chris. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Just two quick last things. Boyd County was under a burn ban, so they had to mulch. So if you want any kind of mulch, guess where you can get it? Boyd County has all kinds of mulch. So if I'm speaking on behalf of Boyd, and I shouldn't be, but I'm sure if Elliott County needed some mulch, I'm sure it's something to be arranged.
I've seen that big machine they had down there.
There's-
I've got a truck that can go down there and bring it up here. It still says Boyd County on the truck.
Hold it hostage, see?
No, it's ours.
Oh,
It's
you'll never know.
They goodwill it to us. And
Yeah, they'll never know. There's so much mulch.
okay. Well, they're doing a lot in the Kyle Mall, and they've got mulch too.
It's a new playground, event center, it's called Climate Mulch High.
You know, they're supposed to be ready to go.
It's actually
Great things out here, down.
The last thing is, this is just to put a bug in your head, bug in your ear. I noticed as I went through and did the grants, and I was notified that we got our first ice storm money, our notification of ice storm money today. That means it's already in process, it's going through Department of Finance, and it should be in the bank account in about 2 weeks. Usually there's about 2 weeks delay.
Yes, 2 to 3.
Yep, so the system works.
Good.
This check is much, much smaller than the whole check that we need, but it's the first grant.
It's a start.
Yeah, it's a start. But as we were going through putting these grants together, and I have the privilege of being hired by other counties throughout the U.S. You guys are doing a disservice to your employees, and we can fix it. And it has to do with salary, personnel, and overtime in a state declared disaster. This county did not have a method to pay to pay salaried employees overtime, and so then we could not claim it on the grant. So other counties have a type of personnel policy that says in a state declared event, salaried personnel will receive overtime rate at 1.5 times their normal hourly rate. And then that whole amount is reimbursed under the federal grant. So it's just something to consider, that to change the policy so that in a state declared event, your salaried personnel are eligible for overtime.
So you're telling me then that the law says that a salaried person can be worked overtime without paying any extra pay?
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that.
No, it doesn't.
But it's tricky. You don't have it written out exactly the way FEMA needs to see it, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because we get to FLSA, but FEMA needs to see it to say exactly like this, and you're like, yeah, but the real rule is, and they're like, no, we don't care about the real rule. It needs to say this. So it needs to policy that during
Salary.
this circumstance, salary
Exceeds their
personnel will receive hourly overtime rate. And I strong that one.
I would have thought that would, I would have thought that'd been just a gimmick.
It's not.
It's funny how they can change the rules
They
from
can
one
just,
thing to
they're,
another.
you know,
They don't even
you
accept
know,
their
it's a
own.
very convoluted process.
So the dispatchers are working 44 hours.
They're hourly personnel. So we were able to pay better overtime.
Okay.
This is just for salary personnel.
Crystal Alliance. Jim Jacks.
Robbie's out over here.
Robbie's also so.
So Robbie. Now Robbie's.
Robbie,
Right.
Robbie and Jim were both outside.
No, I might have misspoke a little bit. For the purposes of reimbursement, it needs to be more clearly stated.
Right, I understand.
Let me ask you this, Jim. You and I have a little conversation.
Yes.
where we can word it,
But I'm
and
not
I can
very
represent this.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay, moving on. Anything else? Any questions? Okay, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you very much.
Matt? Well, I don't have you as number one, but I would ask the magistrates to give me a moment here to, let's talk about what you, and it'll be a motion that I'll ask the magistrates to consider. I'll set this up for Matt says what he says. The St. Louis Water District is pursuing a CDBG grant for $248 to run lines in the St. Louis area and to build a new center over here in the fields behind the nursing home. Whenever we began this process, if you remember, the applicant you all allowed me to work with was one company. It was Brian Patrick Kirby. Okay, they filed for they were the applicant company that filed. Once that was over, then comes an agreement to let someone finish the project. I have asked FICO to step in and take the project over, to move forward with this. I am in front of FICO no less than once a month. I have all of FICO's management staff on my cell phone. If I have any questions, I can get answers a little slower than that versus the history I've had with others. I'm asking you, and I'll let Matt take over here, I'm asking you to make a motion for us to move forward as a fiscal court, allowing FICO to be our agent moving forward in the process for the CDBG loan current for senior water. Matt?
Yeah, that's essentially what we need. It's basically just allowing us the power to take over the grant and administer it moving forward until completion. We've already started basically doing some cleanup on the grant. But do you know when it is forward? What year?
They were last year.
Yeah, okay. So, there was some issues.
No, we're not in between.
I think it was a couple years ago.
It's another reason I like FICO. Kind of move forward.
But I want to go ahead and say it was about 2 years ago. And there was some holdup with DLG and some paperwork that was submitted. And basically, we were getting really close to losing that funding. So we got back on track and we submitted the right paperwork and on behalf of the county, and it's getting ready to move into the city where we can start construction and everything. So, but for us to be able to do that, we have to have you, the board, have to give it to us to be able to do that.
The last email communication I had was, and I'll shoot back about 3 communications before that, was a laundry list of requests that had not been met. And I forwarded those to the appropriate people at FICO, to an engineering firm who was overseeing this operation, and to Bridget Howard, who's the managing partner of San Diego Water District. All those were quickly answered, submitted back to the DLG. The DLG's response was, thank you all for submitting this. It is now going into the approval stage, perusal and approval. So we're moving faster now, and FICO has this, and I can ask questions right now when I need to get hold of Kelly Ward, Matt Atkins, or anyone else in there. It's working. This is
So
moving.
you want a motion for amendment to the,
No, I would like a motion from you all to allow FICO to proceed forward and continue the CDBG grant that we're getting for San Diego.
I'll make a motion for that.
Is there any further discussion?
Did we award that into the other company?
We awarded them the approval to do the application.
To
The
obtain it.
application has long been since submitted, and they have been funded.
You're not saying the water district has been awarded, they just are allowed to proceed until they met that laundry list Jeff was talking about. And we have, turned the document in at this point. So now we're in the process of getting everything squared away so we can move into
So
construction.
that part's actually done, then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's make sure of.
They did the application process.
Okay.
Then I would come back to you all with it in front of us, and I would say I want CETA to go ahead with this. They are now, they give us a proposal to move on with this, and that's not happening. I'm asking you to allow FICO to move on with
Okay.
this. Is there any further questions? With that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for calling me. I appreciate it.
On August 9th, at our FICO office, we're going to be holding from about 10 o'clock. I'm going to block out from 10 to 12. It shouldn't take an hour. I'm going to be trying to be as efficient as possible, but it's going to be a kind of a grant information session where our first responders, our mayors, our county officials, are like for as many people as possible to attend. And I'm going to run you through, not a comprehensive list by any means, but a list of available options for grants out there for you to kind of meet some of those demands that the county has. For example, when you mentioned trucks earlier. So I'm telling you this now, that way you can kind of make a list of things that you would like to see in your county, or maybe funds that you need to see. For example, fire department, safety of the fire department, we did A on everything, they needed some new equipment, they had a lot of outdated gear. It's things like that that if I had to talk to the fire chief, we don't know what you need. So we're really going to use this as a way to figure out what our cities, what our counties, what our EM professionals need. That way we can kind of show you what grants are available so we can help get you funds to get what you need.
You say in August 9th?
August 9th. Yeah, 10, 12. Like I said, I hope it only takes about an hour. But we need another hour for questions and comments. So if you come with a list, I'm going to run you through some grants. I'm going to tell you when the deadlines typically open up, what you need. That way we can be proactive and have all this documentation lined up and ready to go. The application really doesn't change too much from year to year. Just the date, okay, but it really all changes. The information stays the same. So if we have these applications already 90–95% ready to go, that they open, we will send them on out. And that allows us to do more applications, potentially get you more funding. Instead of us having to, because these cycles are only typically over for about a month if you're lucky. That's not really a lot of time to get, quotes and all the necessary paperwork, because the judge is being pulled 10 million different directions all the time. We're handling all the cities in our 5 counties and all of their emergency professionals. So a month really is a lot of time to get all the information for some of these applications. So if we're proactive and we already have that filled out, we can do more grants and get you more money.
What's the number? We can get a hold of you at. We got a card? I didn't
See, I
get
think
it.
I got an extra one in the truck.
Like I said, August 9th. So, absolutely, I'll go ahead and give everybody that one, just in case.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. Thank you.
So Judge, if you're able to attend, I'm gonna send you an email.
Just put it on now.
Absolutely, I'm gonna send out an email, kind of giving you everything I said or right now.
Yes.
Sheriff, if you're able to attend, or you can get a list of things that you need. I know we were talking about, I think it's your part about a canine unit.
Okay.
You got a canine?
It's here.
Excellent.
If I can't attend myself with a deputy or.
Yeah, you can sit down.
Manager or
Yeah.
something like that.
And, you know, court judge, you can
I don't know, I'll try
but there are, the funding source for the dogs are challenged, but the funding for taking care of the animal, I know the source to take care of the feed, and stuff like that.
Yes. Awesome.
That's, yeah, so there's all kinds of grants out there, like I said earlier, you just kind of need to have an idea of what you need, so we'll get it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
And you can call me, real quick, flip that card over, I'll give you myself, or walk and call me whenever you need it. That number is 606 548 8826. Do you have any questions?
One more time.
548,
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out. Absolutely.
Thank you all. I'm a little slow.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right, here, well, hold on, we didn't let you know.
All right, moving into old business.
I don't think so.
Let me just throw it out there, is there anyone in the board that has anything to say, comment before we move forward with, any business? Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
thank you, Matt. Moving into old business for regular meeting minutes for June 15th, 2021. Motion by Booth, second by Pam. Is there any discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Number 2, approve special meeting minutes for June 30th, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Emily. Any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Okay, new business. Number 1, approve the sheriff's tax settlement and unlined total settlement. Is there any way we could get the unlined total settlement to go up?
That would be awesome. We're on hold, trying to find everything.
Well, looks like these numbers are definitely declining.
I'll make the motion, I would approve the sheriff's tax bill.
Motion by Charles, second by Brian. Any further discussion? Let's say all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Any opposed? Have it. Number 2, approve to reappoint Steve Hyson to Rattlesnake Ridge Water Board. His term ends on July 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dewey, second by Chris. Is there any further discussion? Say all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Have it. Number 3, approve the Elliott County Fiscal Court's fourth quarter report and other year-end financial statement. Your treasurer said she is actually teaching vacation Bible school this evening. Do you have any questions regarding this? We can also say 8 tomorrow morning.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
There's a motion by Emily, a second by Charles. Is there any further discussion? Let's say all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Number 4, review / approve or propose to build a 200-foot privacy fence at the county maintenance garage. I think you all have both proposals.
it, kind of, that's the flow of things. It would be so great if we could.
I can't find it.
I'm still going.
I found that I had to have
Maybe
it.
we're on time this.
I mean, I know we can spend time looking at the emails and play reading through that stuff beforehand, but still kind of.
I don't see them, but we had one,
Wasn't they in the scan? I think they was in the scan that you sent, wasn't they, with the package? I think. Might not be.
they were just more the in skin.
I'm thinking about the contact. They're not in here because the next thing is the pipe out on Harvey Hart Road. And when you go back behind it, it goes back into the bud stuff, so they're not in here.
One, privacy fence, was a quote, same deal with the 504 wall. He was just under $10,000. It was a 200 feet slab wall with slab fitting ground. The other quote was from Rio Grande out of Lexington. It was over $21,000. In their bid, they offered to paint the fence brown with brown signs. The first one is under $10,000.
That wall.
That's Keith Walker.
I make a motion to accept the Walker bid from all them.
The motion, Chris, was second from Pam. Is there any further discussion?
Did a good job.
They did.
That's it. All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 5, approve the beginning process for pipe arch on Harvey Hart Road. This company has the state contract already, so we've been approved through the furniture. This, at Harvey Hart Road, Matt Barton, you all have seen the picture, if you saw what I forwarded you. Me and the gentleman went out there. What happened was during the floods, water backed up in Concord Church House. Now that's a freak event, but water did back up in Concord Church House. And when you look at it, the upper end of this tile is supposed to be 5 foot. It's barely 2.5 because the bottom dropped out. Now the end is concrete and it's 5 foot. So you have a galvanized 5 foot which is collapsed. And the road, we have actually packed that road in and put bags of blacktop back on top of it. The road is going to deteriorate and collapse as well. The concrete is still there, the galvanized is shot, and it can't happen again. Now that flood was a 25, what they call 25 to 50 year flood. It just doesn't happen. However, it happened, and it went all the way back up 450 yards to a church. And it flooded a parking lot and got into, I think they said, their lunch area or their east area.
Sunday school room,
Sunday school room.
Yeah.
This falls under the Bridges program of Kentucky, it's like 20. What you're going to be looking at here is potentially $27,304 for this delivered and assembled. Robbie said the guys would just have to go to the site and assemble this pipe arch. We would then have Tony Pettit come with his excavator and set it in. Tony would dig it out, Tony would set it in, and then Tony would repack it. And then once it's settled, we can come back over and blacktop the process again. And this structure has a lifespan of around 75 years.
This is the same contact tile that was looking at.
Yes, you're looking at a half moon structure.
It's a good looking product.
Yeah, they like them right over here on Rock Street.
Actually.
Yeah.
But this gentleman, John, that I spoke with, he came down, we looked at several sites. I'm gonna look at several more with him. But he and I both agree that RV are just as deal for what they do. And what you're looking at, even at 5 foot, is what you look at. Exactly, it's 5 foot. This structure will hold more than double the capacity of water that it would come at, than what an actual pipe that works will hold. This is a pretty handy little deal. And I don't think we have to worry about that spot again until after we retire.
We're looking at those costs.
You're probably looking at 4,500 for excavation fees. You're probably looking at 2,750 for rock out of our pocket. That's our cost on rock. You're looking at, and I will turn in probably 4 guys doing it
I'll make a motion to begin the process with height.
Okay. A motion for Chris, second for Henry, is there further discussion?
Is your estimate on cost is less than $10,000?
My estimate by the time we pay our portion will be less than $10,000. That's my estimate. What I will do tomorrow or later this week, I'll put this together, and when I send this to the state for pre-approval, I'll also forward this to you all with the same deal, which I can write out exactly what actually Shane does.
Yeah, so,
Shane will write out the assumed cost of all this. She has the guys' wages, and she knows how to plug that in. So we'll just forward to you all for you to take a look at.
figure it out.
As it goes that way.
You got Tony Pettit already lined up to do it, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a contract to do the flooding jobs. This can fall right into that because this was a flooding project.
Well, I knew Tracy Joe had excavators also, so I don't know if anything would be there.
We can look into that.
Either one of the works best, I mean, I didn't know what to do.
The initial get it rolling, my estimate, I think it's $4,500 for $27.50 for rock, and our guys waiting on to be reduced. I think this is a pretty good deal for us to get that road compared to where it won't. I gotta be careful because it's actual. But I hope that we don't have to mess with that again.
Well, that's a good oversize for the,
Yeah,
to replace it with. I
It's
agree.
more than double. It's more than double. And normally, if you go down there right now, I'm sure you gotta check the water, our head rolling through
Yeah.
what we have. But when it gets this wide and this tall, it just tracks because they galvanize that copper below the gentleman who's there in his life. When you pull in over the yard, it's just gonna come very hard. And it roll all the way back from over there.
It's pretty amazing.
It's
That's a lot of wood.
Did you get that go?
Yeah.
All in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Any opposed? Thank you. Now, you get an email from me that shows you what was sent to the state for the beginning of approval. And it usually happens pretty fast. So our next support, when you look for me, hopefully you'll get it away. And I can put that for you approved for you all. That's good. All right. Approved to pay Sandy Hook Fire Department, 504 Fire Department, Knoxville Fire Department, $26,000 each in ARPA funds. We usually give the fire department $11,000 each anyway for coal service. However, coal service dropped again this year dramatically. We usually get $40,000 a quarter. This year you're looking at about $30,000 a quarter. I use ARPA funds, which is in that guideline. We can put that $11,000 into the 15 that I previously sent you, and we can use all the remaining coal service dollars coming in for other new projects that we have. That's why I asked for the answer. This was critical when I brainstormed after I sent you the email on 15,000. So this will be 26,000 to each fire department through the ARPA funds. And Did you get more than double? But if you think about it, Nancy, you want to talk about how much money you lost because I was working to do a fish fry.
Due to COVID, our budget is down a little over $30,000 on what we earned for our fish fries and agricultural
Yes, yes, you're reimbursed up to $9 an hour. Anything above that, then there's a course we're getting. So we would be essentially on the lookout for a lot.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
The motion made with the second by Chris. Is there any
You gotta tell me what that is on the year? How much is that a year? I mean, I don't know how many.
Depends on how many more you have.
I didn't know how many.
They'll go up to, gosh, they'll go up to several. If you had 8, depending on the size of your.
Right now, Warren Meadows, I talked with him, they're in the process right now of rebooting everything because it's so lag and so far behind. What people don't understand, what these people gotta go through just to get these positions. It ain't like going to McDonald's and signing a piece of paper for work. They gotta go through extensive background checks and all that. So just to find somebody getting qualified, and that's the thing, is getting qualified personnel in here. Because when we do get them, we need to give them an incentive to stay. But, right now, the max is 7 for our area, but they're trying to increase that to where we can have 8 to 10. Which we need, because right now, with the way our court dates, we're going back to in-person court dates, and it's a struggle just to keep all that stuff lined out of 2 days out of the week.
Do you have all 7 now?
We do not, we have 5 of them right now.
Okay.
We still trying to get them other ones, but get people to be able to pass through the qualification spot. If we can get them through that, then it's good. It's hard to find somebody who passes the background, who will actually go through it. Once they see how much stuff they have to go through at all times, they'll tuck their tail and then we go through the process. So it's hard to find somebody just to get them approved. That's the reason I'm tickled to death, and I thank y'all for doing this, because it's hard to get good people. Then when you get it, it's hard to keep, because these other places go to Taco Bell and $12 an hour right now. So it's hard to keep them right here, you know, and keep your book on it, you know what I mean? I appreciate y'all doing it.
Any further discussion? Let's sit down, favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Consideration of bills and transfers, approved, paid, and unpaid bills.
Second.
Motion by Dewey, with second by Chris. Is there any further discussion? With that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Have approved interfund budget transfers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Chris, with a second by Emily. Is there any further discussion? Let's say all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Number 3, approve to pay cell phone checks to Dustin Kelly, Ray Craft, and Rod Hill.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Chris, with second by Charles. Is there any further discussion? Let's say all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Is this,
Go ahead.
is this just for the cell phones?
It is.
Can we incorporate that, or we don't have to make a motion on this one?
It's not, I think it's worth fixing, we were all over. You just want to do it once this year.
Okay, so this will cover the,
Yeah,
oh,
Ray will get a check tomorrow for Kevin retirement.
okay, that's why I was checking, so we didn't have to do it.
Number 4, approve to pay Mark May will fix his Ford pickup truck. I sent that to you all in the text or email. I can't remember what happened when we were on County Line Road on 96. Jason and Greg pulled up in on the road off 96. Mark May gave me a call and said a projectile shot on the back of the tractor is getting on the side of the truck. It's a brand new Ford Ranger, or relatively new. It's one of the newer, very new model Ford Ranger. I did not know Mark May, but I got talked to him, and I instructed him to go to, I said, I want you to go to Drew Body Shop, it's a local body shop, and I said, then choose up. And I said, we'll take a look at it, I'll go take pictures. So they were yesterday, they were over his house, and they was on 55. And he has been in jail, and he's been nothing before I was being asked for anything. He's out. I let him on vacation, he's supposed to be filed with the fire department, and that was not his up. I called, apologized, he's completely okay. I told him I'm sorry, and I drove to his house with pictures, and I sent his pictures to you. And he went and got 2 points per line instruction, and I presented those points to you.
Looks like a good stop one is a whole lot cheaper than the, I guess, the Bruns I'm looking at. Yes.
Does he have a preference for which one fixes his truck?
He did not. He went to his stop, that's his choice. I asked him to go to a body shop. give you whatever you want, I want you to go with just a little.
We get a reimbursement.
I turned that in on their insurance, and we'll see what they say, but I told Jim we would try to get his truck repaired. He said he kind of, I couldn't find anything, it would be much, and I hated to bother y'all with it, but it hit the side, the driver's side of the truck, and he said he hit it hard. Now, it's got a little bit there, but today.
I'll make a motion to approve the pit stop collision bid.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Brian, for the pit stop collision, bid, and a second by Charles. Is there any further discussion? Let's see, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, number 5, approve purchase shirts from Chapman Printing. The ladies in the office, is it just you all? The ladies in the office would like some shirts like I wear. And I bought mine at a mortgage, with the lady from Chapman Printing. But they asked for the fiscal court approval to get some Elliott County fiscal court shirts, from Chapman Printing. And did you know how much? So it'll be you, Nancy, and Chris, right?
I thought Jim was something.
Jim asked me the next time I got something. Well, I actually gave Jim the number of the lady organized values. But I didn't know that. Jim shirts were saying I'm on.
I don't want you to have mine, I'm sure.
Yeah. You approve the, you all bring it. We just, the girls like some off shirts and.
I gotta look out.
And the, we need more.
We're not gonna set up, did he?
How much did you say that? Like, you spend over 500 a year on the guys for clothing and shoes.
We spend 5,000 on guys for clothes.
I was thinking like 500 a piece, but I wasn't sure.
I'll make a motion to approve this for the shirts.
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion?
Just make sure you use your.
Well, I'm not sure, you know, I'm just, mine, Nancy, around, and then I down and something. Okay, all right, we'll talk to you about it tomorrow. But that's all, favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Communications from other offices, acknowledge monthly reports.
Motion to acknowledge.
Motion for Chris, second from Ely. Any further discussion? I would just add that we are mowing in the high school right now. We are on State Route 486. We will be on Green Branch tomorrow, as long as everything holds up. My goal is to have the first cut done by the end of this week. We'll come straight down 486, we'll go to the Lane Trace, and then we'll cut across, Little Rushy, or into Little Rushy, and we'll cut across Little Rushy, and then we'll finish the first cut. We're also replacing several tile. If anybody here wants to know where we are, let me know, because I'm sure that I think we got our organization the other day, and we're doing tile right now. I think I've got a backhoe on Devils Fork, got a backhoe in Bus and Seals, backhoe on Devils Fork, the power steering is now on. It's really power steering delivery, so we fix that. And then I've got 2 tile put in, one in high school, and one in Emmons area. The grader was on the 4th day, it was on Briar Fork, and it went toward Elmore Road, and it was going to hit Granmore Road, it was going to Briar Borderline Road, and we'll see probably any maintenance by that point, or maintenance and get it back out. So that's where we are.
Do we have any plans, any idea when you may be gonna start
It will be after we finish mowing next week, but then we'll try to get somebody to learn and get it out.
I've been paying attention to some of that, the state, they're actually having to use flag people on the.
We will need someone on pay because it's a project outside of the road. It can be dangerous. Yeah, we usually drive behind it, 50 to 100 feet. Yeah, Robbie has already been working a little, but I have a friend who is ready to go train someone and teach him. It so happens that we have an employee, his dad works the state front, so he works on the road. He said he's working on the road, congratulations, Charles, with the free. I'll teach you now.
Yeah.
Get the guinea pig, Charles.
Well,
Bring it on.
Robbie can also has explained, so we'll work it out, and then we'll start getting this. Robbie said it works tremendous. He loves it. Yeah.
173, if you see what they did out here on 173
I did.
State, boy, that looks good. Yes, it does. It looks real good.
And it works good, the big mulching blade.
That's a lot of greater, Myron. And then, you all get a chance to, last time I was out on mine, and Clyde Hill called me after y'all brought it back to the garage. You all get a chance to go back to the road? Yeah, yeah, about that.
We were right out there, right on this road after.
Well, they went out the they went out the ridge and somebody would go over a hill to hit that. What is that?
I'll take a look.
One more question before we adjourn.
Sir.
I talked to Mike Copley down at the body shop yesterday, and he was asking me some questions about this federal funding we're getting and some water line work that Rattlesnake Ridge is wanting to do down in Dewey's part of the country, Plains Trace and Open Fork. And I also talked to Morgan County and Round County both. I overheard a discussion where the federal money that was going to both of those counties, part of that money was being dispersed out to the local water departments. Can part of this federal money that we're getting go to the water company to help in some of this infrastructure work?
Elliott County received $276,000 for water, sewer, and wastewater.
Okay.
Robbie Atkins is going to use all that for a rebuild on the sewer station right over here that comes out of the nursing home. He's asked for that, and we worked on that now. Going back to what you and Mike discussed, Mike and I discussed as well, the 2019 proposal for Plains Trace, an example was that was $79,000.
Now it's about 140.
Now it's $144,000 to $150,000.
Yeah.
I talked to Doug Hall, who did this game over here yesterday. Doug was not so, I asked about your reimbursement program because we were 6 months. Doug said Friday, the papers will go to the national level for review. That's a 30-day process. Then it comes back to Rattlesnake Ridge. Rattlesnake Ridge, then it takes 90 days to do a bidding program. He said, then you got to work out the scheduling, whoever wins the bidding program. So we're probably looking at the quickest rate right now, 5 to 6 months, and they can start excavating. Right. Summer, who's a little engineering, said, we're probably not going to lay water lines in the dead of winter. So you're looking at March.
Mike said he could get their engineer to come to the next meeting and talk to us about some if we wanted him to.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. And he's talking about it.
Yeah.
Rob's great to work with, but I'll tell you, my conversations with Rob usually he takes his law because he's been working on this without pay for 2 years. And he's wanting to move, and he feels like because of COVID and because of some other things, not at this level, but at different levels, it is slow the process.
Looks to me like we could go to 5 too and talk about some of these grants with Matthew, like what he was talking about a while ago. I mean, if anything we could do would
Yeah,
help.
no, I understand.
I think I went out there in 2019, this was brought to our attention, and I drove out and asked everybody out there, just to put a deposit,
And
to
they
do
did.
something, you know, because nobody had any idea. And I got people still out there waiting, I thought mine too, he's gonna say something. I was saying, you know, I was being telling, it's all waiting on government.
Yep.
And then when I go out and speak to
That don't help my people.
the legislature,
No.
when I go speak to the legislature, they're going to, where's the water? This is ready to go, but I will also tell you, it's something else. When I came in the office in 2019, the trigger was ready to pull, and then something else happened.
said, we'll start making rides and all kind of tests. Elliott and I want, if that test date has changed. So will this finally be complete?
I would say finally, I'll say we're close to very good, because all these other phone systems are online. They're ready to go. However, I asked the other day, if I dial 911, my phone right now, we're really going to make that answer.
So they're saying it's going to be 83 before the switch.
I can do that as long as it's wrong. And I'll probably ain't free, but I can't work out there. But when I will see, if it's going to see it when the time goes back, because that's when they get flown into the 911 dispatch center, should have been in 3 years. And then I can. Yes, ma'am.
I'll just say that per KRS statute, we have turned over excess of $1 receive those. If not, I'm sure we'll be like, $10 instead of $0.50 for calculation.